Here we go. Yeah, we're live, we're live, we're live, we're live, we're live, we're live, we are live. Greetings to you all. Welcome to my live section today. Tonight, it is night here from my end. It could be afternoon from your location. It could also be morning from your location. So, wherever, it doesn't matter wherever you're watching from or you're joining from, please kindly indicate your location and join the live. Make it interactive. Make it interactive and communicative. Make it educating so that everybody we have um, people to join us. Okay. Okay. I can see here Destiny. So I want to bring in our guest speaker tonight who will be joining us. I think he's coming.
Hello,
Yes.
Steve. Oh, how are you?
I'm
Yeah,
good,
good.
brother. What's up?
I'm on the road. I'm heading for treatment, so I will have to talk to you in 30 minutes. Is that okay?
It's okay. No problem.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll call back. Thank you. All right.
Bringing you in. Okay. I want to share this. Okay, my name is Stephen Wise. I'm the founder of Steph Wise Happiness Foundation. I'm a certified life coach specializing on happiness and anger management. So tonight we will be having a discussion interactively with my friend who I invited, who is an expert on the field that we are going to be discussing now. Okay, he is here. He is gonna be he is gonna be giving us a teaching tonight. Permit me to have a road cleared in tonight's
Hey
discussion.
guy, what's
It
up?
is good morning, bro.
Morning, man.
Yes. So from wherever you are, you might be having the morning coffee, you might be having the evening dinner, then you might also be having the afternoon lunch. It doesn't matter wherever you are watching. Please communicate, make it interactive, and ask your questions. Okay, our speaker tonight is capable to answer every questions. So without wasting much of our time, if you are able to check the flyer that I posted here, is about suicide. Okay, we are going to be discussing about suicide. You know, what is suicide? Why do people commit suicide? How can we help those who are committing suicide or who are having the suicide thoughts? Okay, so these things that we are going to be discussing tonight, feel free, interact with us and make it lively. Permit me to welcome, will I call it doctor? Will I call him doctor? So he's an erudite man. He might be a doctor, he might be um, whatever. He's too much. It's too much. So I want to be welcoming somebody whom I know very, very well, who has been, his erudition is outstanding. Okay. Um, he is a Mandela Washington Fellow. He's a savvy fellow, a philosopher. He holds a mini master's in business administration, in partnership, fundraising personnel. Is a community development worker. In short, to brief it all and to cram it all, he is a social worker. A social worker could be in the area of um, health. So, bringing him in the area of health, we can say that he is an expert, okay, in mental health. So he creates mental health awareness and ways to prevent it and how to manage it. So, my viewers, I'll be welcoming tonight Mr. David Francis Effen. He will be speaking to us all the way from Michigan, United States. Okay, is it off? Let me invite him. Let me bring him in again, please. Wait. Yes, I think he will be in short time. Please be patient. Let him come in again. Maybe he got a 911 call because he is very busy. He's very busy. So let me, before he comes back, I will be giving you tips on what we are about to discuss tonight. We'll be having the issue or the discussions on um, suicide. Thank you, Bronique. Thank you, Amakama. Thank you, Edidion Effion. Thank you, Destiny Benedium. Thank you all guys for joining this live tonight and this afternoon, depending on where you are joining from. Okay, kick out. Okay, I got you again. You should be in. Yes, he's in. Oh, thank you for coming back. So as I
All
have
right, man.
intro, yes, as I have intro, can you hear me clearly?
Yes,
Right?
yes, yes. I can hear you clearly. I heard the introduction, so I was trying to share the link to my contact, and
Oh,
because I'm using my phone, when I kind of minimized, I just lost the connection. So I'm
oh,
like, okay, maybe I'll
okay,
share this when I'm done. I'm
okay.
trying to
Thank you.
also log in into my laptop as well, so
Okay,
I can
okay.
share it with
You
my
take it from
friends.
there. we will be having this discussion for 1 hour only. So
Yeah.
just take it from there. And you are a very busy man. If eventually your time is kicking, you can also excuse. Okay.
Yeah. So thanks so much for this opportunity. I mean, when we talk about suicide, most of the time people think it's something that is pretty much very far from them. Okay, and if you read the story on my Facebook page about my cousin, I actually lost my uncle, like, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? And I'm glad my dad was there, to take him to the mortuary alongside the family. And then last year, my cousin was trying to prepare for his marriage, and all of a sudden, the wife to be lost the mother, and then
So tragic.
few weeks afterwards, she also lost the dad, and she's the only son, sorry, the only daughter to the
Mm.
family. And I've been trying to put myself in their situation. And I remember that back in the day, it wasn't easy, especially when you're trying to be in a relationship. We are trying to make things work. And somebody somewhere doesn't care about your mental health. Somebody's breaking your heart anyhow. You would
Yeah,
always you,
yes,
you you would always ask yourself, what is wrong with me? What
yes,
what can I do to make my relationship better? What can I do to make my career better? What can I do to make my studies better? So you get to ask questions like that, and you discover that the more questions we ask ourselves, the more we begin to blame ourselves. We
of
begin to
course.
blame ourselves and say, I'm not so good. I'm not the perfect person for you. In fact, there is even one babe I was asking out that year, and I I reached out to her, talked to her, wooed her, and she was like, no, 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 no. I don't need you. Like, she was literally telling me, I'm not the best person for you right now. I think you should talk to my friend. She
Yes,
said that. But as someone who have been in the mental health space for a long time, I realized that everything that it's around us, from the way we relate to people, the way we see ourselves, is totally, totally a part of the statistics. Just think
yes,
about it. Just think about it. Every, according to the World Health Organization, okay, guys, every 40 seconds, there are approximately 800,000 persons who die by suicide every year.
correct.
So just imagine, by the time 40 minutes is over, in this call you and I are having, somewhere in the world, somebody is ending his or her life.
Correct.
So for us to put this into perspective, you ask a very brilliant question. What makes people to commit suicide? And I have just painted a scenario telling you about the story of my cousin. I've also told you about my personal story, reaching out to people, getting heartbroken. I've also reached out to, I don't know if you've watched this recent, I'm not trying to make them popular, but this is a very stupid podcast. These three ladies who sit down and they talk about that the 10,000 naira that they can't, if you're a man and you're giving them 10,000 naira, that they don't see it as anything,
Yes,
that they are not beggars, if you have watched
yes,
something like that. So
yes.
when I, when I was watching it, I asked myself, what if there is somebody in this person's life who is not earning as much money as they should have earned right
Mm.
now? If you are listening to your girlfriend making this type of statements, and you know that your job is in shambles, you know you are going to lose your job.
Yeah, of
Right
course.
from that moment, right from that moment, if your girlfriend or fiancé or partner is making this type of comment online, right from that moment, your mental health is going to be affected, because you're already asking yourself, this babe, So you mean to say if I lose my job now, she can't stay with me? You mean to say that I have to always do this and this and this? You mean, you begin to question yourself. I'm just putting myself in her shoes, okay? I'm not
Yes.
saying she can make the decisions and she can say whatever she wants to say. But at what point do we start questioning ourselves for the things that should be just normal? If you start questioning yourself on things that you cannot control, then that's the beginning of your mental health crisis. So
Crisis.
the question, why do people commit suicide? Is like asking the question, why do people go to defecate? People go to defecate because they want to release something from their body. They want to release toxic waste from their body through their anus, basically. People commit suicide because they feel that that is one of the best ways possible for them to escape those questions they are asking themselves. That's one of the ways. So if you are here listening to me and you don't have a job and you're asking yourself questions that you cannot control, questions like, why was I born into a poor family? And why, questions, definite. Why did my father um, meet my mother? Or why was I born in Nigeria? People ask
Yes.
themselves those questions. Why was I
Yes.
born in Nigeria? Huh?
Yes.
Why didn't you guys give birth to me anywhere else? We can't control those type of questions. As if you don't have a job. Now, two,
Some people ask, were you born in Nigeria by mistake or by
by
accident?
mistake. You see? So people ask those, that's if you don't have a job. Now, if you have a job, but the job is not high paying, they ask really funny questions like, why is it that everybody in this place hates me? Why is it that people are finding it difficult to promote me?
Yes.
Those are questions that you cannot control. That's career wise. You have a job, but there's something you need from your office and you can't get it.
Yes.
Then you go to your personal relationships, maybe with your partner, and you're like, after all I have done, why did this person do X, Y, Z to me?
Yes.
For instance, you want before people break up with their partner, they are always like, after everything I've done for you, after
After all
everything
I
I've
have
done
done
for
for
you,
you, you used
huh?
me.
Yeah, so
That's always the exclamation. You used me
you used
and
me,
dumped me.
and dumped me. Those questions are very critical because they kickstart what begins a long journey into mental health crisis. I
Yes.
have been a victim. I've been a victim, and I want to tell you my story. And I want to presume that those listening will probably have questions as well. A few years ago, I was working in Nasarawa State, Nigeria, uh, like maybe six years ago or so. Uh, before I moved to Abuja and then traveled. And then I was in a long distance relationship with somebody, and that relationship was beginning to be in a turmoil because of the distance. It wasn't possible for me to see my partner at the time. We were only having phone calls. And I remember working in a place that was paying me less than the minimum wage.
Yes.
Pay attention,
Mm.
less than the minimum wage.
Mm.
I couldn't afford to buy even a generator. I couldn't afford it. She couldn't afford to stay in a better apartment. You know, I was staying in that apartment where you have your toilet and the bathroom outside the house.
Outside the house.
There was no water inside the apartment. So you have to go outside and get water. You need to go outside to get your stuff. The kitchen was, this students kind of kitchen that is always inside the house. They don't
Now,
have a kitchen. Ah, you were in Kagoma. Let me not even
now
go
so
far.
now
So
we experience that together.
so you know all those type of kitchen where you keep your gas or your stove on the floor.
Yes,
That type of life. So now imagine that she was, I mean, she's still very pretty, and she went to another environment where a lot of people were, oh, wow, what are you doing? You should have somebody here. Why are you relating with somebody from afar? Why is your boyfriend in far away Nasarawa and you're far away down this part of the world? So it was crazy. It started to affect our relationship. We quarreled over simple things that we could have sorted out if we were together. And during that time, my employer was owing me 3 months' salary. Three.
salary. That's
Remember, they were
that's
even
just
paying
it.
me. They were even paying me less than the minimum wage. They were paying me less than. I'm talking about 18,000 naira a month. And
Yes,
is you can't with that type of money you can't even afford to buy a new smartphone, a brand new smartphone. And this guy was owing me for 3 months. Meaning for 3 months, I was on survival mode. I wasn't living. I was
yes,
basically surviving.
surviving.
So I, during that time, my relationship was in trouble. My career was stagnant. I didn't know who to call, and I fell into massive depression. What what grew to become what we now called acute anxiety disorder. I couldn't sleep for 1 month. One of my colleagues discovered, I told her in the office that, look, I'm having this issue, I can't sleep. She now recommended I should be taking sleeping pills. So for 1 month, for me to go to bed, to keep my head steady, keep my mind calm, I was surviving on sleeping pills. Man, it was a very horrible life to be because I got so weak and tired that I was lucky I wasn't suicidal, but I also didn't see a lot of purpose and meaning in life at the time because it was extremely difficult. You don't have any family around, you are far up in the north, you are earning less than minimum wage, you don't have any money in your account, you can't even reach out to anybody, and your relationship was in trouble. That is enough to break any sane heart. But I was saved because of another friend who was a friend to a medical doctor, who was dating a medical doctor at the time. When I complained to her, I said, look, I have been using sleeping pills and I can't afford to be using sleeping pills to go to bed all the days of my life. I think that I need to put a stop to it. And then she ask me questions like, okay, what do you think is the problem? Why are you using sleeping pills? When did it start? Those questions. And then I told
Yes,
her, and then she now took me to this her doctor friend, whom I realized was one of a therapist.
Mr. David is out again. Don't know why. Maybe he's having the problem of connections. Okay, so he will still request again. He will get back again. So David is giving a scenario. When we are talking about suicide, it's just a very simple thing that everyone could do. It is pray that you should not be in a situation where the thought of taking your life uh, will come into you. So he was trying to give us an example of his own personal experience, what he felt or which he was into. okay, before he was able to get through it. So that is the simple way that people become suicidal because of what is happening around them. Okay, he's back. He's back. He's back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
All right.
It's internet.
So, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was trying to paint that scenario because it took me having a conversation with a friend who actually encouraged me to go see this medical doctor, a therapist. And then we had that section together back in the day. This was years back. And I discovered that when he asked me those questions, it actually helped me. He didn't provide any solution, by the way. What he was doing, and this was my very first encounter with a psychotherapist. What he was doing was to ask me questions. Questions like, when did this episode start? What do you think is a problem? What do you suspect to be the problem? Questions like, um, why are you still in this job? Okay.
Yes,
Do you need to resign? Do you think you should relocate? He was asking me questions, and the more I responded to those questions, the more I discovered that I was also listening. I was also listening to myself. And in listening to myself, I got the audacity to tell myself, look, I think I need to put an end to these episodes. I need to put an end to this job. I need to put an end to this relationship or sort it out. I need to put an end to allowing myself to feel so much pressure.
yes.
And
I'm there.
the, yes, the first thing I did was to resign from that job. That was my very first point of action, was to resign from that job. So if, again, going back to the question, why do people commit suicide? It's basically an escape into something that is so difficult, questions that are so difficult to give responses to. And that is what a lot of people, the approach is quite not so complicated as people would make it feel. Because the first thing is we need to be looking at people's perception of reality. What is their
Yes,
perception of reality like? I find it difficult to have conversations with Nigerians who, when things go south, they begin to blame their village people. Our village people are after me.
yes,
They begin to blame people back home,
yes,
village people. And they begin to blame their friends. They begin to blame their family members. I have a problem with that type of perception because it authenticates the fact that you are not in charge of your life. If you are, are getting to that point where you cannot say, you know what, I can control this. I can control this. And this one that I can't control, I'm not going to bother about it. That one that is, uh, why worry? Can you
why worry?
solve it? Yeah. Can you solve it? Yes. So why worry? I say, can you can you solve it? No. So why worry?
Why worry?
If you can't solve it, why
Accept
worry?
it.
If you can solve it, why worry?
Yes,
So that's the first thing. That's the first thing. Mental health issues and people's perception of reality. The second thing is the feeling of hopelessness. The feeling of hopelessness. When you're
please,
having a
guys, listen
yes,
very carefully. Why do people commit suicide?
yes.
Why do people commit suicide? Listen carefully and put things down.
The feelings of hopelessness. If you are getting to a point where you feel that there are thousands of people who don't care whether you succeed or not, there are there are groups of people who want to apply for a job because they have been rejected many times. They'll be like,
Mm.
I can't even apply, they don't want me. They will reject
I'm not
me.
qualified.
I'm
It's
not
for people like
qualified.
this.
I'm not worthy. That's why I love the Western world. I love the Western world. I there was one time in there was one time in Michigan, I was having a conversation with one of the professors and talking to them about what I do back home, and she was so enthralled by it. She was so elated by it, and she reached out to me and was like, you know what, there is an opportunity I want you to come in on board for. I need you to come and do XYZ for my people. And I just smiled. I told myself, when you are in a society that is meritocracy driven, merit driven, that you don't need to know anybody in power to be able to
Yes,
have access to certain opportunities.
of
I know it
course.
happens. I know it happens most of the time, but it doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen all the time. I mean, I'm a data analyst as well, as much as I'm a social worker, and I get the point that there are people who feel that their society is totally against their progress, and because they feel that they can't go far without knowing one big man or one big woman, there's always that creepy feeling of hopelessness. You want to
Yes.
apply for a job before you even go for the interview, or they invite you for an interview. You say, these people, they are not
It, it,
serious.
it affected people like us when we were feeling it was recently when I got to expose at this level that I realized what is this entitlement mentality, which could affect someone's
Mhm.
mentality so deadly, so bad, because those days when we had rich people around us, rich uncles, we were expecting them to do everything for us, to give
Yeah,
us
yeah,
job, to
yeah.
help
It
us
is
in
a sick,
school, to send
it's
us
a sick
abroad to
one.
do this,
It's
and
a
they
sick one.
ignore us. Only now that I am in the position to do, to take care of some people, that I know that yes, those things they are doing that time, it was not easy. So the entitlement mentality is another problem that is also hindering people and making people to feel that yes, they are being disappointed by people. This person does not love me because he don't want to do anything for me. Sometimes we call it stingy. This person is stingy,
Uh, uh.
but it's unfortunate.
Unfortunately, I think I am not as lucky as the many people, okay, who have uncles and aunts and people around them who actually assisted them. I am not also self-made. There have been strangers who have come to my aid many times that I can remember, more than
Of
family.
course,
So
of
I
course.
didn't grow up with any entitlement mentality. That's why it is very, very easy for me to learn how to reach out to people. And there have been feelings of despair in my life some of the times. And in those times I've felt despaired about anything. I've always been telling myself, you know what, remember that where you are now is where you wanted to be a few years ago. So
Mm,
don't feel that you have don't feel that life is so bad, you
mm.
know. Feel grateful. That's what I tell myself. Feel grateful so that you can be able to have the peace to push yourself to another place in life. So the feeling of hopelessness is basically because there are people who feel that there is no need to try. Okay. There are people who
Yes.
feel that their situation is unchangeable. There are people, if you are a little kid going to maybe a teenager, go to talk to your parents or your aunts or uncles or just siblings, and you tell them, you know what, I want to be I want to be as wealthy as Elon Musk. I want to be the
Mm.
richest man. I want to be the richest woman. Or I want to be the first person to build a house in my community. And you discover that because there are people who feel that their situation is unchangeable, they will tell you, look around you. This family, we don't have rich people. You know, they have already discouraged you. You tell somebody, you know what, I want to go to the United States, I want to go to Canada, I want to go to Australia, or even I want to go to the Philippines. They say, look at you. Your father did not travel anywhere. Your mother did not
Mm.
travel anywhere. So who told you that you would ever
You can
travel?
travel.
So there are, if you are in a situation like that, it makes the feelings of hopelessness to have a massive impact. So that if you want to try, there are people who would always remind you that you can't go further than people in your circle. That's why I'm a very firm believer in changing of circles.
Yeah.
There are people, there are people that, I mean, we both studied at the time in Kagoma, but there are
Yes.
people in that I was classmates to. I have intentionally not kept contact with them
Of
because
course.
their
Of
circle
course.
is not the type of circle I want my children to be introduced to. Their circle is not a type of circle I am proud to talk about. And their circle is a stagnant circle. They
Yeah.
are they are still there waiting for NYC,
Yes. Waiting for
waiting for
NYC.
handouts,
You know, some are
waiting for
still
people
some
to
are still looking for congregations to
uh,
join.
so it's crazy because
So crazy.
you can't look. If your dreams are big, if your dreams are big, target those who have achieved at least more than half of what you hope to achieve. If your dreams are big, target those who have achieved more than half of those you want to achieve. Even if it's just to follow them on social media, follow their updates, study their thought process. Okay? That's the
Yes.
second thing, the feelings of hopelessness. The moment you begin to feel that your situation is unchangeable because of environment, your family, or even your mindset or experience of rejection, then you will begin to think that suicide may be the only way to escape this suffering.
Correct.
Because when you have feelings of hopelessness, you would definitely also have feelings of despair, and you would have the escapist of feelings. So another thing, I have three more. There is what we call social isolation. Uh,
Good.
People who think that I'm an introvert, so I don't want to be around people. Please check on your so-called introverted friends, because especially if you are paying bills all the time, you are paying your rent, paying your water bill, paying your
Yes.
electricity bill,
Yes.
paying your car insurance, paying your health insurance. Nobody knows the fuck what you're going, what
No,
is
no,
wrong
no,
with
no.
you.
Nobody cares to know.
There is a lady who there's a lady who died last month in the UK. She's been dead for at least 2 weeks. Nobody knew she was dead.
See?
So it took one immigrant who was always, they always exchange pleasantries. It took that guy to actually discover that, she's not been seeing this lady around. So they had to go, they called the police, and by the time the police got there, this was around the third or fourth week. Her body was already decaying.
Imagine.
The feeling of loneliness, my guy, is a real thing in the Western world. I mean,
Yes.
we are lucky in most parts of Africa. There's always a family friend to stay with. There's always somewhere to go. There's always some party going on somewhere. There's always somebody willing to take your nonsense and shit in. There's always
Yeah.
somebody willing to pay your bill, you know. But you go out there, you gotta be on your own, and that is why there's a lot of homeless people as well in the US. I mean, the first day I saw a lot of homeless people in downtown DC, man, I was like, damn, because it's easy to be homeless here. It's easy to be homeless in DC.
Of course,
If you can't
even
pay your rent,
it's
if you can't
easy.
pay your
It's
insurance,
it's
you can't
easy.
pay your bills, it's
It's
very
easy.
easy for you to out
It's it's
on the streets.
it's easy to be homeless in a foreign land than to be homeless in your home country.
Yeah, very, very correct. So these are the things, loneliness, social isolation, people who, especially you travel to a place where you are the only black person there, you feel alienated, you turn around, and this thing happened to me when I was heading to Chicago last year.
Mm.
Guy, that airplane, that airplane I boarded from, where was it? From DC to Chicago. Guy, I was the only black person there in that airplane for the first time in my life. I felt, damn, this is, you just go in and you automatically feel different. You
Okay.
automatically feel different. It even gets worse if you sit down close to somebody who doesn't want to sit down with you, who doesn't want to talk to you. And worst of all, if you are in a classroom and you are the only black person there.
Okay. You are experiencing this in a country where they speak English. Okay. There is no let me use this.
Uh-huh, yeah.
There is no language barrier. Okay.
Uh, yeah.
This experience you had, that is when I come to realize what mental health is. Okay,
Uh-huh.
in 2016, when I arrived here in the Philippines, it was my day. It was horrible because language barrier is there, segregation is there. Something like you can't even ride on a bus or on there is what we call here jeepney, public utility vehicle. People
Uh-huh.
stay together like that. You cannot even ride there comfortably because when you sit beside close to a local, the person will just close nose as if you are smelling. So this kind of things, no, these kind of things are the things that we experience here. That if one is not properly taken care of,
Mm.
suicidal thought will come.
And it is during those few months, if you are not very careful, if you are totally socially isolated,
Isolated.
you would feel, you begin to feel, why did I migrate in the first place? Why did I
I
come here in the
was
first?
nearly maybe I nearly had mental issue because there was a time when my brain could not hold it anymore. I would be hearing a sound here, I couldn't even look back because because it was so terrible. You know, somebody like me, one day I had to react.
Uh-huh.
And I can never forget that scenario. It was
Mm.
the people that we used to what discriminate on, the LGBT society, right? The gay that came to my aid. It was the gay guy which I was also discriminating. You see the life, okay? That came and fought for me. Why are you treating this person this way? Stop. He gave me encouragement. So I stood. From that day, I stood on my feet, and when you misbehave, I will treat and give you a lesson. So that is it. Somebody must come in the situation.
So This is why I keep telling people when you are traveling to a new place for the first time, please, please, please do not be socially isolated from your people or from certain groups of people. There are people who travel, they get so smart, they begin to go to churches to connect with people, they begin to go attend maybe Nigerian communities in South Africa, in Asia, in America, in North or South America, just anywhere. They try to connect with, keep in touch, keep in
Keep in
touch
touch. Keeping in
with
touch is
people.
important.
It's very, very important. And when you feel lonely, always remember that there is just a phone call away from somebody. It could be a friend, it could be your mother, it could be your father, it could be your brother. And internet services are even cheaper outside Nigeria. You know, you can enjoy those video calls, those audio calls. There was one of my friends that traveled to I think Canada. The very few weeks he arrived in Canada, he didn't know the community there. Almost every day, this guy was calling me on phone. And because I understood what was happening to him, I always, if I miss his call, I would always return his calls, or I drop voice notes because I knew that if I cut him off, guy, in Nigeria,
There's a
nobody
problem.
calls you every day.
There's a
Nobody
problem.
calls you every day now, in Nigeria. People are like, they either come to your house or you are going to meet them somewhere. Calls are not as frequent. But this guy was calling all the time, and I picked, and then I'll talk, we'll laugh about it. I discovered, as a mental health advocate, look, these things are really helpful to these people. They
Okay. Okay.
are, they
Let
are
me.
also very active online.
Yes. Let me throw this question directly. What what is suicide actually? What is suicide?
Um, it's a very, it's a very, it's not so difficult a question to ask,
Mm.
but if you want to look at suicide, um, remember our philosophy days, the isness of a thing. What is suicide? If you want to define suicide, in my own words, I would say something like it is the intentional act of ending one's life.
Okay.
Remember, I have mentioned something like people use suicide as an escape mechanism to escape from suffering, to escape from despair, to escape from social isolation, to escape from loneliness, to escape from frustration, depression, to escape from the feelings of my situation is unchangeable. There's nothing I can do about it. This is how I was born. This is how I'm going to be till I die. Nobody cares. To escape from hopelessness, to escape from traumatic life's event. Like, I talked about my cousin losing three people, lovely people, within the space of 6 months. I've been keeping in touch with him, because I know that social isolation and loneliness contributes to people choosing to end their life intentionally. So people want to escape from those traumatic events. Why
Okay.
me? Why would I lose my father? Why would I lose my girlfriend's family all in the space of 6 months? Why me? Begin to ask
Yes.
themselves those questions that are so difficult. And then
Yes.
substance abuse, the
Yes.
escape from substance abuse. People take drugs, alcohol, drug addiction. These are all issues that can exacerbate mental health and impair judgment,
Okay.
increase the risks of mental ideation and impulsive behaviors. So simply put, that is what suicide is: the escape from all these things I've mentioned, and as well as the intentional act of ending one's life.
Okay. Let me throw this again. What are the warning signs of suicide?
Okay, the warning signs of suicide. If I mentioned something like depression, it will be too vague. Okay,
Yes.
are you with me?
Yes.
Give me a
I can hear
sec.
you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so the warning signs of suicide, think about something like a word like depression, for instance. If you feel that you are beginning to leave people who care so much about you, if you hear your friend always telling you something like, I don't think life is worth living, you know, please pay attention. Those are verbal cues that you should take. I wish I was dead. And you know that there are some parents that feel they tell their children, I wish I wasn't your mother, or I wish I
Yes,
wasn't your father. You have
yes,
brought so much shame to this family. And then if you're having a conversation with those type of people, they'll give you verbal cues. Ah, my parents are not proud of me. I wish I was dead. I wish I was not alive.
they
You
hate
know,
me. My parents hate me.
those,
Wait,
yeah.
excuse me. I had somebody. I, I, I think it was last year. I intervened to someone who was saying this kind of thing. This person saw my Facebook profile and she messaged me directly. Okay,
Mhm.
this is the exact comment that she made.
Yeah.
She said, "Please help me." So, what is the problem? She went direct to the point that she is feeling she is suicidal now.
Mm.
That without talking to her, she might commit suicide. So she said, "Do you know my parents never loved me ever since I was a
Wow.
child?"
Oh.
And she was growing at the age of 15. The parents got separated and nobody cares. So she was nursing that feeling to the extent that she became suicidal. I was the one, by the grace of God, who intervened. Okay, so this is the same scenario that you are trying to explain.
There is a girl in the university now because of our intervention as well.
Yes.
And in, in my other organization, Anti-Suicide Global Initiative, we've heard stories, tons of stories. I may not be able to share because of time constraint about
Yeah.
people who just want to end it all. And there are people who come to us and they tell us, like, that was a few years ago, a young lady who is a direct consequence of separation from the parent. The father is with another woman, and the mother is just alone and trying to get hooked with another man. So she is
Yes.
divided in between two worlds, and none of the parents wants to take responsibility for her. They're even
Big
encouraging
problem.
her. They're even encouraging her to go and get married. This is someone who's never been to the university and who should be in the university or go to college
Yes.
or school. So she said, well, she doesn't feel that life is worth living, and so she just wants to end it all. And she was the very first person. I think she was also the last, because these days I don't really do that anymore. She was the very first person. I came up with her story online with her permission, of course, posted it, and I saw people donating. We were able to send her to school because she was able to afford to write jam, but she couldn't afford to pay for the acceptance fees and all of the admission requirements. So she was sent to school. And then a friend of mine in Australia made it her purpose to be sending her at least 50,000 naira every month.
Every month. See, good
So
one.
I was so happy, and I discovered if we didn't intervene just like you did at the right time and in the right place and circumstances, we would have lost someone who probably would have been the next best thing to happen to the whole world. So that's the first thing we should look at, those verbal cues. And the second
Okay.
thing is what I call emotional distress. There are people who have an overwhelming feeling of emotional pain. You ask them, what is the problem? They say nothing. But
Nothing.
you can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their body language. The body doesn't lie. The body is one truthful thing that exists in the human ecosystem. If I am going out with somebody, your body language will tell me if you are a good person, or if you are thinking of something that is going to harm me. Your body's language is going to tell me. When first time I was in the US, these white people, the way they smile at you.
Yes.
Hey David, they do
You
that,
would
and
think
when
you
you
would
pass
think
the
all
way,
is well.
yeah, right. So it took me a little bit time to really improve my body language skills. To say, you know what? And one of my friend who is from Uganda, she actually hates this thing. I'm telling you now. Yeah, each time we are in class, she will complain to our professors, and when we're having a group discussion, she's Ugandan, and she'll be like, "I don't understand what is going on here. Every time I come to say, people, how are you? Good morning. Nobody answers me. They just come smiling, and then no, I don't want that fake smile. I don't want that fake smile. You people fake this smile. I don't want it. If you don't want to smile, don't smile." And all of us were just laughing. We're just laughing. But we
Yes.
understand. We understand that
Just like
she's coming.
here. Just
Yeah,
like here. Some people
really.
you will say good morning to someone, the person will ignore you totally. No response. You will feel like, am I not greeting you?
So, but that's why the rate of depression sometimes, if you are a person that studies people's body language, you will know when they are emotionally in distress. That feeling of
Okay.
sadness, despair, anxiety, anger, irritability, mood swings, all of those are the signs that we should look out for in our partner. And I want to
Oh,
mention one of the most important is social withdrawal.
so sure
Social
withdrawal.
withdrawal.
Yeah. It's
Anytime
a very
you see people always indoors, they don't have a family, but they are always indoors. They don't want contact. You invite them to parties, they don't. You invite them to their own graduation ceremony, they don't want to go. Their own matriculation, they don't want to go. Their own housewarming party, they don't want to. So anything that involves their contact with human beings, they don't want to go. They are isolated from friends, from family, from social activities. Watch out, there's something big going on. Something big is going on. So,
okay.
verbal cues, emotional distress, social withdrawal, changes in behavior, preoccupation with death, always telling goodbye. If you are dating someone and every time you are in a situation with your lady and she's like, don't worry, one day you are going to leave this house and you come back and I'm no longer here. You come back and I'm dead. Maybe you are going to be happy. You come back and you see me, I am, they say these things, you have to pay attention because they are not just saying it to make you feel good. They are saying it because they feel that they need to tell you goodbye. Their feelings of finality is something that you need to pay attention to. You need to call them. This is not where you need to come up as a man and begin to come and get out. Who even need you? No,
I
because this
was
is not
I
just
was
about you.
I watched a video
Mm.
here in this Facebook. I watched a video. No, somebody copied it from Facebook and sent to me directly in WhatsApp. A husband with children around him with his wife. I don't know what transpired. The woman was holding a sniper, telling her husband, I will drink this now, you will see. I will drink this now, you will see. I will kill myself. The husband was there looking at, okay, do it, do it, do it. That was when I saw that some people become beasts instead of humans. This man was looking at the wife with the brothers and the kids. The wife opened the sniper bottle and squeeze and drink, finish it all. When she drank that, okay, the man was talking, okay, now you can die. You try now. Congratulations now. He was
Wow.
lying down on the floor. The woman was sitting on the chair. Within few minutes, the woman began to react. react until she fell down. Everybody now rush. The children rush, checking the mother. Mommy, mommy, mommy. I was like this, looking at this.
So it's very unfortunate that we find ourselves in a world where people do not pay attention to their partner's
People
cues.
don't pay
They
attention
don't
to
pay
what
attention
is
to the
there.
body language. They don't
Mm.
pay attention to the verbal language. They don't pay attention to the unspoken language. Those three things are very powerful. You can be in a relationship with somebody you love, and you are able to know if that person is genuinely happy with you, if that
Yes,
person is genuinely happy in your relationship. If you are very meticulous in paying attention to these cues, you are going to not just be in a happy relationship, but you are going to save that relationship from imminent danger. Just imagine you and you are threatening me that if I go wherever I'm going, I'm coming back, I'm not going to see you anymore, or you are going to die, or maybe you are going to do something to yourself so that I can be happy. The moment you say that, man, I'm cutting off every shit I was going out to do to sort out whatever the issue was, because most of the time, those are cues that we shouldn't pay attention to. So all those goodbye messages that we feel, oh, finally I can get rid of her. All those goodbye messages, they may be playful at some time, but we should be careful. We should pay attention. We shouldn't be forgetful. These are very, very important. Really important symbols of the bigger ecosystem of the mental health crisis. And lastly, we mustn't forget the drastic mood swings. These days we can begin to modernize and contemporize things and saying, why didn't you pick your call yesterday? People were trying to reach you and you'll be like, it's just one of those mood swings. They just put it under the carpet, give an excuse, and you call it mood swings. Just few minutes ago, you were very happy, and another few minutes again, you are extremely sad. In another minute again, you are extremely excited. Those extreme changes in mood swings, particularly from people who appear to be calm or happy, man, it's something you need to pay attention to. And for me, my experiences over the years, these are a list of things I feel, look, you need to pay attention to in terms when we want to term them symptoms or signs of people becoming suicidal. Yeah.
yes. Okay. Because of time, I said we're gonna have this live discussion for 1 hour. It's already
Okay.
5 minutes above, and I know you have also you have to go to work. It's just morning there. I
Yeah.
would have loved to extend this to some questions like what are the treatment options or therapies that are available to someone who is being suicidal. So that will be maybe next time, or I can just put that on my page so that people who are interested will read it. So within this, I will also ask questions from our viewers. If there are any, I have checked the comment section. I couldn't see much questions. Although people we are following, I see people who are following the conversation. And I will also download this recording and so that they can also watch and share. Without wasting more of your time, I will say thank you for honoring this invitation to discuss. This is one of our causes, okay, in our foundation, Stepwise Happiness Foundation, where we try to sensitize people, teach people, and educate people, liberate the mind, the ignorant mind, so that they can be able to fix themselves, manage themselves properly, and achieve the authentic happiness, okay, which is almost the ultimate goal of life, okay, according to Aristotle. So thank you for being part of us and participating with us. Whenever we call you, please do answer us. Um, we want to join you. We want to make so that we can also partner in the social activities we are actually doing. It's a very nice one. So thank you so much, and I would like you to throw some words to our viewers so that we can call it a day.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Mental health is one topic that I'm really passionate about because of the immediate effects have seen it in my circle and in my personal life. So I mentioned one of the treatments I got for myself back in the day, which was psychotherapy and counseling. And some people would want to go the hard way by taking medication. Other people would do what is called inpatient treatment. Okay, that is inpatient treatment for high risk or immediate crisis for in their life or hospitalization may be necessary at the time. And some people would look at support groups. These are the treatments I'm mentioning, if I want to call them. We look at support groups I mentioned when you're traveling to a new place. Don't cut off people. Don't say, I don't enter abroad. So I don't need to call my friends. I don't need to call my family. I don't need to call anybody anymore. Right now, be in touch, have those support groups, and then plan for the safety. When you have a plan, always ask yourself, what if plan goes wrong? Okay, what if this plan goes wrong? What is the alternative? That keeps you thinking. Even when I'm not saying this should apply in your marital life, or where you say, what if this marriage goes wrong? Let me go and let me have another person stand by. No, 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 no. I'm saying your plans, your career plans, your business plans, your financial plans. Always have that. What if it goes wrong? That's safe. It's called safety planning to help
Yes, safety
limit
plan.
the way you look at yourself. And in the US, we have 911. In Nigeria, I don't know what the emergency line is. There's always that person in your family. There's always that person in your circle that can always be the first to respond to crisis. That person
Yes,
can always be the first to say, there is trouble. I've not heard from David. The person who reach out to other people. Make friends with such people. Always have a connect with people who would act as crisis helplines to you. But of course, in the Western world, you have the emergency lines, 911, and so on. And then finally, remember that there's this thing called collaboration. A lot of Africans don't want to collaborate on anything. They want to be the first to do this, they want to, and then close the door against their own people. No, because this alone would give you the type of pressure that you are not supposed to experience. It means working with mental health professionals, with your loved ones, with support systems. So these are really my final words in terms of how do you address suicide? How do you address the thoughts of suicide, rather, or suicidal thoughts? How do you treat them? And I hope, hopefully, this is going to be posted. I hope people who are listening to this would actually begin to ask themselves, interrogate themselves, ask themselves those questions that my therapist asked me many years ago, which I
yes,
was able to give responses to. Ask yourself those difficult questions, not the ones you can't answer, like where is God? Like why was I born in Nigeria? Like
yes.
why is my skin black? Like those questions you can't give an immediate answer to.
Then you
You
pay.
know,
That is the ones you pay attention to.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The questions you can't
Yes,
answer, you pay attention to them.
yeah. Give yourself that ample time to respond to the questions that are important. That questions, when you pay absolute attention to them, it will help to grow, develop yourself, get you out of whatever situation that you find yourself. And with that, I think yeah, we can call it a day. And I hope that we connect some other time.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna be reaching you as maybe as often as possible so that we can have issues to discuss. Thank you so much, David,
Thank you.
and
Thank
I
you.
appreciate and God bless you. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you
Bye.
and have a blessed day ahead of you. Okay, guys, we are done with this topic tonight and this afternoon or this morning, depending on your location. Okay, thank you for joining the live discussion and feel free to share the live if you wish. Okay, there are people who you can touch live. You can touch lives by sharing. You can also change life by sharing. So thank you. See you same time next week and another topic that is we're gonna be discussing. Have a blessed night and a blessed day.